Hello, Numeratus community. It's John Conrad here, and I'm here with George from UpTrade. He's a senior broker over there. Hey, George, can you give us some background into what you do and yourself and UpTrade?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, John, and thank you for having this time for us to connect and to showcase a little bit about who I am and UpTrade. So I guess my role is so senior broker, manage the broker team, manage a lot of our partnerships at the brokerage. UpTrade is a boutique crypto brokerage based in Melbourne, Australia, and so it's quite a bit far away than what you're used to, but we work with hundreds of, if not thousands of clients across the world and in America and Canada. And me personally, I've been investing and trading in cryptocurrency for, this is my ninth year now, going into obviously 2026. It's been such a wild journey. And I guess that's a little bit about my personal background, a little bit about the company. When you think of a cryptocurrency brokerage, it's maybe the first time you're hearing about what that may mean or sound like. So we'll cover off a little bit about what we do in more detail. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, George. So, the fundamental question I'm asking, and a number of clients with Numeratus are asking, is why go to a crypto broker? So, it's one thing to hear, oh, well, what's crypto? Hear about Coinbase, maybe might hear about Kraken or MetaMask, some other areas. But why would I want to go to a crypto broker in order to handle my buy and sell orders?
Yeah, it's a great question. And some people, it's their first time hearing about a broker for crypto. So think of us as simply as like a stockbroker, but for cryptocurrency. So what that means is, the biggest value there is the personalized service. Right. Just being able to speak to someone. I know that a lot of our clients really value that. It seems so simple, but it's very valuable because when you're dealing with a lot of money, people that are very sensitive about their money, they want to have someone to speak to get really good service. So what that means is it could be someone that's quite new to crypto, or maybe they just want a second opinion and to sense check. So they would make sure that when they are sending large amounts of money, one, the banking information is correct, firstly. Two is making a deposit of crypto withdrawal. If you make one wrong button, but you click one wrong button or type it out wrong, you've lost all your money. So being able to speak to someone, make sure they have a safe place to transact. And I think that's such a simple point, but it's worth mentioning first. The second thing is exchanges are great for doing it yourself, but that there's a lot of horror stories that come with exchanges. A few of them are, they can get hacked, they can collapse, from falling over, and they can also freeze funds and make it quite a complex process to move money in and just do simple trading. The beauty of working with a broker is that, for an example, exchanges keep your funds in, now I'm going to get a little bit technical, in a hot wallet, right? It's a live wallet. It's more designed for fast movements to and from. We keep all our clients' funds in secure and insured cold storage. It's institutional grade custody. It's the safest that exists in the industry. So even if the top 5 exchanges collapsed or got hacked, it wouldn't really impact us. Now, that's very important, especially when you're having $1 million in custody of Bitcoin or more. It's okay to invest in the right security. Just like you would when your own home, you might get insurance, or you might make sure you update all your fire alarms. You're gonna have to, you're gonna pay something, but it's about ensuring that it's protected. So there's a few key things there, which is the everything from security, from the personal service, to just even simply being able to speak to someone when their things go wrong. Now, let's just give an example of how does a brokerage differ from an exchange. Remember on the 10th of the 10th, we had a liquidation event where the exchange order books got shut down. They stopped, you couldn't actually buy or sell because they were overloaded in their systems and everyone got liquidated. During that time, because we're an aggregator of liquidity, so we just tap into about 20 different sources, exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and liquidity providers. So during that time, we were actually fully functional because we tap into so many different platforms that we can keep operating even in the peak of a bull run or in mass scale events like that. That is such an important thing because when everyone's running for the exit door at the peak of a bull run, you need to make sure you have multiple options. So they're the key reasons why I think people mainly would look to use a brokerage. And the biggest of them all as well is the research and analysis. right? We do all institutional grade research and we do strategy sessions as well. So you're not going out into the wilderness on your own. You're getting a guardrail environment, an expert that works with you with 9 years experience as an example. And it's perfect that for people that value that and they're serious investors about crypto.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've heard several horror stories, right, where let's just say there's a bull run, right, and everyone's liquidating out of, let's just say, an exchange that's quite popular, and then next thing you know, the exchange is down and no one can put in their sell orders. And I think that is a prime example of where a broker such as you and UpTrade can fulfill those requests in order to get out at the prime time and not necessarily have to worry about any liquidity issues with some of these exchanges that are quite popular. But for me, it's the broker can get you in at a good price and get you out at the price that you feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, so that's another key point is we don't charge hidden fees. Exchanges, they have hidden fees. Without getting too complex, it just means they charge a spread between the buy and the sell price. And if there's not enough depth in the order books, you can get, actually, if you're selling quite a large amount, you can pay anywhere from up to 3 to 6% if you're not knowing what you're doing. That's a very important point, is that people are not aware of that when they are dealing with exchanges. So they might actually be paying more than what they think they are paying. And the another benefit of the brokerage model is we actually offer a lot more currencies because we can tap into more sources. So as a result, that means more listings. So we offer about plus 500 currencies in crypto, so you can buy, sell, or swap. And we even offer tokenized silver and gold now, which is very valuable, as you know, in the grand scheme.
Yeah, very nice. So George, if you have a personal investor coming in, that's an ideal situation. But can we speak to what if someone comes in with their business or let's just say their checkbook IRA, right? They set up a self-directed IRA and they're coming to UpTrade in order to have basically the entity that they created be associated with your brokerage house.
Yeah, well, the beautiful part about UpTrade is that we built it purpose built for that function. So we knew that people have multiple, IRAs and LLCs or companies and set up that they might want to invest in. So we actually we simplify it. We have one portal that you can log in and you can go, okay, let's verify my personal name, company, an IRA, or an LLC or a trust, whatever it is across the world. It is a seamless onboarding experience, so we can do as many or as little as you'd like to onboard. And what happens is when you want to make a trade, you just select the correct entity. So say you want to set it up under your company cell, then you would just select the company. If it's an IRA, your IRA, or buy or sell, etc. That means that everything is segregated from wallets, your security in your wallets, to your trading, to your invoicing and your transaction history. So you have one single place that you can log in and see all the incorporated, entities under the one hood. That's perfect from a taxation point of view. It's perfect from a security, from a keeping things auditable and trackable. And with an exchange, you would need to do all that yourself, or invest in a lot more of services to do so. So that's the beauty of the broker model when it comes to setting up entities, and you can do as many as you like.
Very nice. So, for instance, like here at Numeratus, we have a number of individuals who are personally invested in cryptos, but then they've thought of or have either been inspired by what they've heard to create an entity and have their cryptos basically as a strategic treasury on their balance sheet within their LLC. So, in doing so, right, they have to create the entity, or they might have to create the self-directed IRA, or maybe the solo 401k. How difficult is it, if at all, in order to set that up with an UpTrade?
It's a great question. So the best part about working with a boutique brokerage is everything is white glove. So you'll be speaking directly with our onboarding team, and we typically, if the documents are all there and everything is correct, it can take up to 20 minutes to get verified if you've provided everything. So it is very seamless in that nature. We expedite, and it's a priority for us to ensure a fast setup because people want to typically buy. They get a very, they see a pivot point in the market, they want to react quickly, they want to get in quickly, and that's kind of speed is key. So it can take up to 20 minutes buying all the documentation. Where the little holdups happen is when something's missing, like a document's not correct or it's outdated, and there's a little bit of a back and forth process. But what I do is I introduce the client to our onboarding team. They white glove handle that questions over email back and forth until we solve. And it's a really easy process. It's a secure upload link in the portal for all the documentation. And it's the biggest thing, again, is being able to pick up a phone call when just speaking to someone.
Very nice. So I'm sure a number of people in the audience are curious. If you could give us some feedback into right now, today's December 10th, into the state of the crypto market right now, right? So we're in a bit of a bear market, but our expectations are high. If you could touch base on that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so I want to elaborate. Are you sort of getting a bit of a state of the affairs on where we are at in the journey of crypto? I guess. Well, we had coincidentally overnight the FOMC and decision from the Fed, which is a 25 basis points cut. Liquidity, they're going to be buying about 40, quite a large amount of Treasury bills, so getting more money back in the system. So going into next year, into 2026, I think that Bitcoin currently is we hit a low around 83,000. We're kind of bottoming a little bit. The key levels that everyone's looking out for is potentially if we bounce here to about the 100K level, 103. If we can get above there and stay above there, that's a healthy sign. But a lot of people are saying that if we don't, there could be a flush out to around this, say, 70K zone, which is the average buy price of around for MicroStrategy. So there's a bit of I guess some people are giving that like a 20% chance of happening. I think that, we're seeing commodities do really well. Gold, silver is stealing the limelight. Bitcoin's kind of in this little choppy range perspective. I think that if we do get that mass liquidation event at 70,000, that's going to cause a lot of people to get flushed out of the market. A lot of leverage positions, even the MicroStrategies of the world, they no longer break even. It's going to create a huge potential liquidation cascade again on Bitcoin. But if, again, this could all be potentially invalidated if we get above 103, so buyers sustain above that price, and we're starting to form a healthy uptrend going into 2026. I think overall, BlackRock, they view Bitcoin as a store of value asset. They view it as a hedge against inflation. If we get more, stimulus back in the economy, inflation starts to kick back up, that may get value that priced into next year, 2026. But for now, it's going to be a period of chop between 103 and 60. We don't know which way. We could go to 103, tap that. If we don't break it, we flush down, we flush everyone out at 70. But that's kind of what we're seeing in the crypto market at the moment. It's actually quite a challenging environment.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, things have changed. I mean, especially being in it for a number of years, it's like the Wild West, but now it's becoming heavily regulated. And I would like to touch base on regulation. So, of course, we know that cryptos hold the same value. It doesn't matter what jurisdiction. A Bitcoin in Australia is the same price of a Bitcoin here in the States. So it's now dealing with the regulation. So we see things in different jurisdictions in different countries all over the world, and how that they want to either have a strategic treasury housed within the country's reserves, or how they're trying to make it difficult from a KYC perspective. We have to adhere to the travel rule and things of this nature. So how is UpTrade dealing with regulations, specifically in Australia, and even dealing with having clients all over the globe?
Yeah, so great question. So we're currently registered with an Australian registry. It's called AUSTRAC. They're our transaction monitoring authority. We're registered with them, and we have a current pending application for an Australian financial services licensing for a crypto brokerage. Now, it is pending because crypto is so new that they're figuring out how they're going to treat crypto a regulatory perspective. So we're going to have clarity on that in next year, early next year, and we're only a few months away from getting that stamp of approval. That means we're going to be potentially fully regulated in Australia, the maximum level of regulations that you can have when the Australian government figures out how they're going to treat this asset class. Now, that means that we have a responsibility to our Australian regulators, and any clients that have come from abroad, that's come directly to us, we can still service. Now, it's different because if we start to plan an expansion to the US and have a presence there, that will mean that we'll need to then adapt to US regulations, which we're already sort of having that conversation about. But we're still a few months away from the actual final regulations coming in Australia. I think America's a little bit quicker or a bit ahead in that respect. But we're going to have a lot more clarity on that coming into next year. And whatever it is, we're going to be first positioned to get all the right licensing and applications. So that's already happening in the background.
Oh, fantastic. Are you finding that a number of clients are coming in more from the personal side, or are you seeing like an uptick in someone coming in with like an investment vehicle or an LLC?
Most of my clients have multiple LLCs actually, and they typically trade under the LLC or an LLC within the trust structure. From my understanding of who we work with, some clients they have personal accounts and they realize later they want to switch to an LLC, and then they kind of that's where they maybe we can do a topic on that another time on how to do that correctly. But the majority trade through an investment vehicle, I'd say, in the US. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
very nice. Yeah, I can speak from Numeratus's perspective because we do have an affiliation that a number of clients that come on board, right? They have so many different exchanges and they happen to use like a brokerage like yourself, like UpTrade. And what we do is, we basically create a tapestry here in the United States, and we're creating those 8949 forms each year to distill their loss and their gains, short term and long term. We've even broken out into helping out others that are in different jurisdictions outside the United States, though we're not handling their tax situation or filings anything for them. We can at least get them in a situation where they can hand that report over. So, do you see an opportunity coming within the next year, right? We know that in 2026, we're going to see the 1099 DA being issued out here in the United States. Any future hurdles in regards to regulations? Because there's a lot that's happened over the past 12 months. It seems like a number of clients from Numeratus's perspective are, I made all this money. I didn't have to disclose it to anybody. I didn't have to pay tax, but now other institutions, other brokerages and exchanges are giving that information to the authorities, and now I basically have to come into compliance. So we see this hurdle of compliance coming in. So how is UpTrade handling compliance?
Yeah, so of course we have a full record of everything in case it ever comes up in the future. We actually don't report right now to the IRS as part of our current regulatory stance. We report to the Australian regulators. But in future, if that ever did come up, we have all the data ready to hand it over, and it's all broken down, profit and loss, how much is traded, where the wallet was held. We hold custody individually for each asset for each entity. So if you have three entities, each asset's unique, so they're all different wallets for each of the assets and different sections for each of the entities. So that way it's completely segregated and siloed. So when it comes to auditing and backfilling, it's an easy process on our end. We can do that. We can provide it. At this current stage, we give that data to the client, and it's the client's responsibility if they're in the US where they want to provide that, to any kind of authority abroad. That's their responsibility currently.
Yeah. So just to wrap up here, in regards to someone who's interested in joining UpTrade and getting involved with the brokerage house, where can they reach out to you, and what information can they get that might be like a periodical or some literature?
Absolutely, yeah. So I guess what we can do here is we have an affiliate link with Numeratus, which is a great sign up form that you can see how we work together and gives you a bit of an overview of UpTrade. I can share that with you to kind of have as part of this video. Typically our fees direct are 5% for brokerage on a buy, sell, or a swap. But anyone that comes through this link will get like a 30% reduction on their brokerage fees for the lifetime of their account, reduced down to 3.5%. That's only for Numeratus in this community. We don't do that for anyone that comes to us directly. So I'll send that link. If you use that link, it'll actually secure the reduction, make sure that it is the correct. And I can also pass on my contact number and information as a follow-up.
Well, thanks, George. Yeah, if anyone asks me about it, I will certainly share that information with them. And then I will post that link in the bottom of this video. But I look forward to the next time that we talk, and I look forward to there being a series here of how we're going to connect and see the different sides of how we're handling compliance, regulation, and taxation, and also how we're seeing it on the front end with the buying and selling.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, John. It's been amazing and looking
Yes.
forward to it.
Yes. Thanks, George. I appreciate it.